Hello, hello. This is Laura V from Laura V Studios coming on December 22nd, 2024. First of all, happy solstice. Solstice was yesterday, but I learned yesterday that the solstice period is actually a 6 day period. And the 21st is kind of the middle point. And because it has to do with the elliptical journey that the sun takes, well, that we take around the sun, but um but it's like the sun just kind of gets still at this point of year, and then it starts its journey on the 25th, which they call the return of the sun, which then coincides with Christmas. So I thought that was a really interesting point. And so I'm coming on to talk a little bit about winter solstice, but to talk about the Christ, because I think Christmas gets really caught up in the marketing and the cultural stuff, and we kind of forget the true spirit of this season. And I want to get away from that church idea of Christmas, except there is a part of the church practice of Christmas that is really beautiful. So I don't think we have to throw out the whole thing. I think we just have to get back to the core. And the core is this: the Christ is here. And this is the time to be reconnecting with the Christ. And hence, that's why I'm titling this video, The Christ is Here. And I want to talk about that. I've been doing some channeling this morning with the Christ, and that was actually the first thing that came through when I started channeling. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. And and also I want to share a little bit on what I understand about Christ healing. But the first thing I want to get out of the way right in the beginning is Jesus is not the Christ. Everybody thinks Christ Jesus. Like, yes, Jesus played a very important role in his time, and he embodied the Christ, but the Christ is an energy. It's not a person. It just drives me nuts. The Christ is an energy. And that Christ energy is with us all the time. And the thing is, for whatever reason, I don't know quite what yet, but I know that the Christ has been with me in a very real way since I was a kid. Um, I've always known that I had this ability to heal, and it was really interesting because it was 2 summers ago. I'd spent 2 hours with a friend just making music, and music just lights me up, like music. Okay. Music. And so I was just buzzing basically as I walked into this room. And I expected the room to be filled with a few people. It wasn't. It was two people. I was like, what is going on? But first, this person that I hadn't expected to be there, I sat next to her. She's like, I'm sorry, but your energy's driving me nuts. I was like, huh? And then the other person who was in the room basically channeled this, like, yeah, this is ability. She can heal just walking into a room, and she's had this ability since childhood. I'm like, oh dear God, here we go again. This has been the story of my life of people recognizing it. So, what is the Christ? Okay, it's an energy. Okay, what is this energy about? And it's light. And the beautiful thing about the winter solstice is it's the darkest time of the year. And it was last year that someone said, "Hey, when it's darkest is when it's easiest to see the light." And so I think it's beautiful to think about the Christ during winter solstice. It actually makes so much sense because the Christ is a light. It's a light that brings peace and comfort. And when that's needed, Sometimes we need a shaking up, and the Christ can do that too. What it does, the Christ light, I think Mrs. Mary Baker Eddy defines the Christ as truth. And so truth is there to shake up whatever needs to go. It's like cleaning up house. And the Christ is the energy that helps us to do that. So basically, it's the light that helps us with shadow work, basically. Um, like partner with the Christ, and you're going to do some really effective shadow work. And the beautiful thing is, she says, you pour in truth through flood tides of love. So she's like, love is what makes the truth easier to swallow. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So we invite the divine, we divide, sorry, we invite divine love in so that the Christ truth doesn't like break us apart and make us want to run for the hills. Because it can do that. But yeah, so what is it about the Christ? What does the Christ do? So the Christ is a light, it's a light energy, it is truth, and what it does is it causes a shift in consciousness. The Christ shifts us out of fear and sin. I don't like that word. It shifts us out of what no longer is serving us. Let's put it that way. That's how I think of a sin. It's things that we've allowed into thought that are really, really um helping that belief of separation to be real for us. And separation is just a belief, it's not real. We are forever one with source. And the Christ truth is what comes into consciousness to make that known. So Christ truth helps us remember who we truly are and what is really true from a divine standpoint. And so welcoming in the Christ at this time during winter solstice, whoa, that is really powerful. That's a powerful practice. And so what I'm doing right now is preparing an energy practice for all of us to really welcome in that Christ light and during this winter solstice time to prepare us for the new year. And I'll be doing that over the next day or two. Because actually, I was given this idea about a week ago to put together a little kind of sermon for Christmas Eve. And what I mean by a sermon is this isn't about me being in a pulpit. That's not what I'm talking about. Um, there are some beautiful statements in the Bible that are really supportive of this. And Mrs. Eddy has some statements about the Christ and healing that is very supportive. And so it's about it's a mixture of some Bible verses, some ideas from great spiritual thinkers, not just Mary Baker Eddy. I'm going to try to find a few others, but also a channeled message through me. And so it's going to be a little bit of both. But the other thing, here's the thing about channeling. I'm happy to channel, but what I'm more interested in, honestly, which is why I don't put myself out as a channel, I'm more interested in supporting you to channel your own truth. That's what I'm really about. And that is what care about, which is why I do these guided journeys and do these invocation practices. It's to support you in accessing your own inner wisdom. So it's more like the purpose of this sermon is to kind of open up truth as I'm being led to do it for you it's about creating that space for you to be able to receive your own truth, your own message from Christ truth. Let's put that way. And so that is the purpose of this. And it's just, I think it's a beautiful thing to do on Christmas Eve. I just think that's a great time to do it. But yeah, so I highly recommend, with some winter solstice practices that are out, that you can find them on YouTube and things. But the idea is to just go within to the heart and really surrender to what is there for you and allow that to come in and come through to your conscious awareness. And I was saying this to my teacher a few days ago. I'm like, Mrs. Eddy wrote in Science and Health, when man is governed by God, the ever-present mind who understands all things, man knows that with God, all things are possible. And I'm like, why does she say when? Because man is always covered by God. Like we're always. He's like, how about when you're aware of that fact? I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, so it's about, there are these spiritual truths that are true. They don't stop. Like love doesn't just stop and say, oh, I'm sorry, you're not accepting me, so I'm not gonna shine on you. It's like love doesn't do that. Love just loves, you know? And the sun shines and the love loves and truth is true and all these spiritual truths are true and available to us at all times in all ways. It's about us being consciously aware of it to be able to take better advantage of it. Um, yeah. And what's coming to me right now too is when we're faced with a challenge, a physical challenge, a life challenge, an emotional challenge, it's an opportunity. It is an opportunity for us to explore, but also discover deeper meanings behind these truths. It's an opportunity to go deeper into our conscious awareness of who we truly are as divine beings. So yeah, so that's what I want to talk about today is the Christ is here. And what the Christ does is it causes a shift in our consciousness that then shifts whatever's going on in our lives. If we're dealing with a physical challenge or a life challenge, when we allow the Christ to shift our thought in a different direction, in a better direction, honestly, it then shifts the circumstance or the challenge that we're facing at the time. And sometimes I could be like, I don't know what to do and I don't get what's going on. Great. The Christ is here to shift your thinking, to see what really is here for you, because there's all kinds of things here for all of us. But that's what the Christ does. That's what Christ healing is. So I did a few invocations this morning, and I'm going to put together a little invocation practice in the next video. And yeah, so the points are the Christ is here. Winter solstice is a great time to connect with the Christ energy. And so I'm being led to create some things to facilitate that for you. And the Christ is a light, it is a truth, it is not Jesus, it is an energy that's available to all of us at all times. And the Christ is here always and every day, every moment of every day, here with us now. And yes, so happy winter solstice. Merry Christmas. And I will do a little energy guided journey for us to support our going within and discovering what the Christ has for us today. It's very holy. It's very sacred. And that is what's gonna come through in this offering for you for Christmas. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.